Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. So while a nigga here, I'm shooting for the sky, landing on the moon, walking on the sun, taking over the game, give it back when we done. Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. So while a nigga here, I'm shooting for the sky, landing on the moon, walking on the sun, taking over the game, give it back when we done. I'll give it back when we done.
10,000 hands in the air, have you ever seen? Work 9 to 5 or 5 to 9, do you ever dream? They in the red, but my stalk is green. Proud like I reached the clouds, all off a beam. Dreams on lucid, films on Lucas, sound on surround, and the crowd on stupid. Who that chick Dion? That's Dion on Clueless. You circling around the money, sitting in a Cuban car. Feel the dreams, they said I'm too corny. Funny, I got their ears all on me, fears all gone, and my peers all wrong. So keep your 2 cents in every phrase y'all coining. That's just common sense, all the hating, I honored it. I don't leap, I quantum it. I don't answer, I problem it. I just drop shit while they asking what a colonic is. Pinky, you know what I'm pondering?
Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. So while a nigga here, I'm shooting for the sky, landing on the moon, walking on the sun, taking over the game, give it back when we done. Not everybody lives, but everybody dies. So while a nigga here, I'm shooting for the sky, landing on the moon, walking on the sun, taking over the game, give it back when we done. I'll give it back when we done.
What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Real Cowboys fans, stand up. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hopefully everyone might have the day off. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all got the day off. I know some companies, they do recognize the holiday tomorrow in Juneteenth. So maybe y'all got Thursday off, right? But if you're not, still happy Wednesday. I don't think that we've gone live specifically on this channel since this past Sunday. Hope all my fathers out there around Cowboys Nation, just in general, had a great Father's Day. I know sometimes Father's Day gets a bad rap because fathers feel like they don't get the recognition as mothers get, which is true. Right, you know what I'm saying? We ain't getting no discount codes, not too many emails, but at the end of the day, it's all about just being there for our family. So I had a good time, man. I had a good time this past weekend. Took my boys to Dave & Buster's Friday night, and I put the pause on my boys because we were playing video games. Like, Dad, you're old, you're washed, just give it up. I'm like, no. We are not about to act like y'all can just run me in video games. So I immediately took my boys to Dave & Buster's, and I got down. I whooped their ass all across that arcade. And then Saturday, we went to the amusement park here in Kansas City, had a good time. Now my kids are old enough to ride roller coasters, the big stuff, but it was hot as hell. It was like 95. We were getting cooked. So we got out there like 11, probably around 1 o'clock, 2. We already went through the park. We was like, let's cut it, bro. Let's cut it. Let's go get some Chinese food and call it a day. And then Sunday on Father's Day, we sit back and just watch cartoons, man. So hopefully all my fathers out there had a great and amazing Father's Day. You are appreciated. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Ron, bro. They calling me old and washed on the sticks, bro. I'm like, nah, we not about to do that. Let's get up and go right now to the arcade. You know what I'm saying? And I drugged them all across that arcade. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hell yeah, I punished them boys, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to let them know, hey, ain't nothing soft around here. You know what I'm saying? Just like Brian Schottenheimer, everything we do is about competition. In my house, everything we do is about competition. Y'all not about to sit here and act like I am old and washed when it comes to video games. That's not the case. There are some games my sons can handle me in. I can't play Call of Duty like them. My youngest son, J Tuck Jr., he's an assassin, but he's been playing Call of Duty since he was like 1 year old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had a controller in his hand playing Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying, before he can even talk. So he's different. Mortal Kombat, stuff like that, he's different. But you're talking about some arcade games, some Street Fighter, you know what I'm saying, some Papa Shot, all that stuff. Ain't no way. I don't give a damn if I'm 60. It ain't gonna never be that. So I had to let them know, man. So salute to all my fathers, man. And salute to everybody in the chat. See my dog Rome in the building, of course. He ain't gonna tell you he on vacay vibing out there in Mexico. I'll be out there next week. You know what I'm saying? So it would have been dope if me and Rome would have both been out there in Mexico together. Probably would have been trouble. Right? But I'll be out there next week as we going for some much needed vacation. But salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to my dog Sean in the building. Just became a CFO gang member. You know, so now he is a member, an official member. So to my dog Sean, so he can mask up. You know what I'm saying, with the Jerry emojis. I got more coming because now that we have a certain amount of members, YouTube allows me to add more to the threshold, right? So I can only add like 5, but then now since we got more members joining, then now we can upgrade a little bit. So I got a lot more to load, but it's not just going to be about emojis. We're going to have the emojis. We're also going to have special discounts to the website and the merch store, which should be up and running soon. Film sessions that will be just for the members only. Giveaways for members only as we turn up this season, man. Nova says, I ran in MK. Them fighting games. My daughter had to finish her. Yeah, so today's video games, like we have MK1 at the house. Like my son knows, because my youngest son, J Tuck Jr., he was about to play professional sports, esports, right? Since he was young. So he knows all about frame rate data. He knows about all that different type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Me, I remember Mortal Kombat back when they had no pause button. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them people that you'll be getting in your mode and then he'll pause the game and want to look up moves and combos. And I'm like, bro, there ain't no pausing. This is combat. This is Mortal Kombat. We fight to the death, bro. Ain't no damn pausing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. You know what I'm saying? So salute to J Tuck Jr., you know what I'm saying? But he can't hold it down like he thinks he can. But salute to everybody in the chat. So got a few things I want to talk about tonight. Everyone sees the title, Dak Prescott. We'll talk about Dak Prescott. Also want to talk about our new passing game coordinator in Ken Dorsey, and then also talk about a few other things. But I already see people asking in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I already see people asking in the chat like, yo, Tuck, who the hell did we just pick up? You know what I'm saying? So the Dallas Cowboys have waived Justin Rogers and quarterback Luke Barkley following mandatory minicamps. They have signed defensive tackle Perion Winfrey, 2022 round 4 pick, UFL in 2025, and cornerback Robert Rochel was a 2021 round 4 pick and played in Packers in Green Bay in their place. Now I'll say the corner, I do not know, right? I do not know much about the corner. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't going to keep it funky. I don't know much about him. Perion Winfrey. Know a lot about him coming out of OU. Not really sure how his NFL career went because I tell people, I'm a draft guy, right? I'm a draft guy, and then when those players' names get called, if it ain't the Dallas Cowboys, God bless you. I have no idea what they are doing. But I knew Perion Winfrey. He was a 3-tech out of OU. Had some upside potential, could possibly play on the edge a little bit as well. But not sure what he did in his NFL career. Obviously didn't go too well because he got transitioned over to the UFL. You know the Dallas Cowboys, they got to go to the UFL. You know what I'm saying? They got to go to the UFL for some reason. They got to go to the UFL for some reason. So do I think this is an instant impact? Probably not, but it's a guy who kind of had some upside potential. Maybe they can find lightning in a bottle again. But salute to my dog, Lou, man. I talked to Lou this morning. I told him, Lou, you're probably not going to like this show. You know what I'm saying? You're probably ain't going to like this show, Lou. So I apologize in advance because we're going to talk about the passing game, right? But my dog, Lou, over here being messy. My dog, Lou, is over here being messy. Like a soccer game. You know what I'm saying? Being messy. MESSI. And us as Cowboys Nation was ready to believe in Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Henny with the updates. I know Henny been keeping track of the UFL. Perion pulled a gun on a woman and got booted out the league. Okay. Well, so much for culture, guys. So much for team captains. And, hey, I don't know, Henny. So salute to my dog, Henny. Did a great show with my dog yesterday. Check that out. You haven't already, and subscribe to his channel. But Henny with the update. You know what I'm saying? So I guess he pulled the blicky and got sent up out the league. So I guess he is gun under the seat guy, but that goes against everything we've been. So Luther Burden was a no-go, right? But this, if it's cheap, I'll take it. All right. Well, hey, if you like it, I love it. But like my dog Lou was saying, Cowboys Nation was believing in Rodgers even last year, right? Believing in Rodgers, Justin Rodgers. Nope, they cut him, right? This year, hey, Tuck, we don't need to draft any defensive tackles. We got Justin Rodgers. And we kept saying, you know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, like pump the brake on some Justin Rodgers. Oh, yeah, ski mask. Ski mask in the chat. Ski mask in the chat. I don't know. No, I don't know. I do believe that people deserve second chances, but that kind of goes against all this culture building we have been talking about. And so to my dog Lou in the building as well, and this is what he was kind of saying when it comes to Justin Rodgers, right? I feel like there has been this divide amongst Cowboys Nation, nothing too crazy, nothing too, there's no beefs, right? It's just a difference of perspectives, I would say, right? Versus some of us who like to do what I call solution-based content, right? And Lou likes to do it. I know Boss likes to do it. DMV, list goes on and on. You guys know who they are, right? Henny, Landlord. Like, we want to find solutions to help us win. And sometimes solutions, microphone, check. Sometimes solution-based content isn't as easy as it seems, because sometimes people do not want to hear those solutions, right? They want to hear comfort, right? They want to hear comfort versus solutions. And if you guys have followed my channel long enough, y'all know comfort just isn't my thing. So I've been talking about this off season, but the other day I was on Twitter and I came across this random cartoon, and it explained exactly what some of us solution-based content creators go through, right? I can relate. I saw this random-ass cartoon on Twitter, and I was like, that's just how I feel sometimes when it is being a solution-based Cowboys content creator. 6'4", 291. So he's going to be a 3 tech. Not 1 tech. He's probably going to be a 3, maybe a little tweener as a 1 tech, but that's not going to cut it, at the NFL level, right? But I came across this cartoon, and it reminded me, right? So you see all these little cartoon characters, these little lemmings, right? They're walking off this cliff, right? They're walking off this cliff one by one, walking off the cliff, and there's little J Tuck getting a little nervous. Hey, bro, I'm not trying to walk off the cliff with y'all. I am not trying to walk off the cliff with you, bro. What are you so happy about? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, and keep walking. Hey, bro, I'm not walking off this cliff. Hey, I found a solution. Maybe in order to stop the run, the Dallas Cowboys should go get a real 1 tech that's not out the UFL. Hey, y'all, I found a solution, right? Hey, Lou, we found a solution. Boss, Henny, we found a solution. Let's go get a veteran 1 tech to help stop our run defense. What happens? Man, fuck that 1 tech. You know what I'm saying? That's how it feels. Negative ass Lou. Oh, negative ass DMV wanting a Nick Chubb. I ain't trying to hear all that. Yeah. Let's keep the party going. That's exactly how it feels. And bro, I related to this damn cartoon so heavy, y'all. That kick right there. Right, this kick right, I'm gonna slow down. Bam. Tuck always being negative. Lou always being negative. Boss always being negative, trying to fix shit. We ain't trying to fix shit. Keep the party going. And I said, that's it. I'm going to keep that all year long. I don't know. Maybe sometimes social media and the sports gods was just speaking to me. But when I saw that cartoon, I'm like, that's it. I'm just trying to explain, hey, bro, we can stop the run. Here's how we can do it. Nah. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to hear that. Let's continuously walk off this cliff and do what everyone else is doing. You see what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. But before we pivot over into Ken Dorsey in this passing game, there was something that transpired this past week. And maybe it's me, maybe it's reporter Jay Tuck, right? Not a lot of people talked about this story and the importance of this story. And I kept sitting back waiting for somebody to do it, checked online. Nobody really talked about it, right? So what's the story, Tuck? We've been hearing about Brian Schottenheimer talking about changing the culture, which I think he is, kind of, right? But also creating a competitive environment. And something transpired a few days where Cowboys fans should be excited. And Tuck, what was that? They had Dez in the building. The ultimate competitor. When you think about Dallas Cowboys competitive toughness, right? It's Michael Irvin, Dez Bryant. So they had him in the building and he was able to speak to the rookies. Now, Dez probably won't care if I share this with y'all, right? He was actually supposed to go and talk to when the actual, veterans were there during mandatory minicamp. He just couldn't sync the schedule because I was supposed to join him as well, right? But it just didn't work out. But he still got to go and speak to the Cowboys rookies. Okay, Tuck, big deal. They had Legends Day. They had all sorts of stuff. What is the big deal? Well, y'all remember, Dez Bryant didn't get the flowery, separation that some players get in Dallas. He didn't get to, go play for the Saints and go play for the Ravens and then come back for a day and officially retire as a Dallas Cowboy. And, even before we had our relationship and our friendship, it always bothered me that Dez isn't recognized at the stadium, right? If you ever go to a Cowboys game, you'll see Michael Irvin and we must protect this house and all, saying, wait. And I'm just like, where's Dez? You know what I'm saying? Where's Dez at, right? So you don't see Dez celebrated like he should in Dallas. And maybe it's how he left. Maybe he didn't get along with the Joneses. Stephen Jones, he loves Jerry. Him and Jerry are close. Trust me, I know that for a fact, right? But he never was celebrated. And even though he comes back, has had the Dallas Cowboys tailgate, it's never Cowboys Nation. We got Dez Bryant in the build. It's never been that type of reception from the organization when it comes to Dez Bryant, which is odd to me. As a fan, I hate it. As a content creator, I hate it because we know a lot of us, and especially this younger crowd, they are fans because of X. There's no way to flip it, right? But I will tell you guys this was not just Dez just popping up at Frisco just randomly, something he did on his own. No. He was invited. They reached out to him to come speak to the team. They wanted him in the building. You know what I'm saying? They wanted Dez in the building. I know, because like I said, I was supposed to go there with them. I couldn't because my wife's out of town right now. She's actually in Dallas, but I couldn't go because I got 2 teenage boys, and I ain't leaving them by high schoolers. I'm not leaving no high school boys by themselves. Absolutely not. You are not turning my house to the party spot. I don't give a damn how good kids you are, right? But Dez was never really received like that. So for them to say and reach out to Dez and want him in the building, I'll say this for Dez, and he'll probably speak for himself. It meant a lot to him, but also it meant a lot to these players. Because what people have to understand, right? My era is Michael Irvin. You know what I'm saying? My era is Michael Irvin because I'm old. I'm a little bit older, right? But for someone like Jadon Blue, for someone like CeeDee Lamb, for someone like Micah Parsons, Dez Bryant was their guy, right? Dez Bryant is their guy, you know? That was Rolling Stone. That was Rock Nation. That was, Air Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the brand. The X was the brand. It was a larger than life figure in Dallas that only also bought out in the field, but was respected worldwide. For someone who's been fortunate enough to see it hand in hand day after day. I mean, when we get the Super Bowl, y'all, there was no Cowboys fans really there. There was Eagles fans lined up around the building to meet Dez. We had to fight them off. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole crowd of Eagles fans like, hey, F the Cowboys, but love Dez. Wish he was in Philly. Love Dez. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just been the type of love that Dez gets, right? So it translates. And it's a competitive spirit. And so to have Dez Bryant in the building, to have him around not only the rookies, but just the players, right? Because Dez, bro, I was going to give you a pass, but I looked on your Twitter and you kind of out yourself, right? I was going to say Dez is in big bro, territory. He's in big bro territory. He said he was in unk territory. So you an unk like me. So you Uncle Dez and Uncle Tuck, right? You know what I'm saying? I was going to give you the big bro pass just slightly for a few more years, right? But they look up to Dez as big bro. Right? Trayvon has a relationship. You saw him and Micah going back and forth, and you see that Jadon Blue wanted to get a picture with Dez to post on his Instagram. He didn't post one when you had, no disrespect to Tony Castillas and those types of players, right? They didn't want to post that on the gram. They want to post Dez is in the building on the gram. So it's a different type of environment. So in order for the Dallas Cowboys to really recognize Dez and bring him back in the building, one, it meant a lot for Dez. And then two, it means a lot for these players because you have a guy that's not too far removed, but he understands what these guys are going to. And I talked to Dez about this. He's like, yeah, absolutely. If there's one player that Dez has to connect with, say it with me, it's George Pickens, right? Because George Pickens will have to go through what Dez went through of being that competitive spirit, just wanting to win, but people would try to skew your narratives, right? And kind of paint you a different way for just wanting to win. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's an important relationship, but having Dez back in the building, ultimate competitor. I mean, you see him and Micah talking about, Micah's like, I can lock that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's naturally that. And someone who's competitive as hell, Dez don't like losing at anything. You know what I'm saying? Me dog walking him in college football, it drives him crazy. But I know I'm just a little different. I'm just a little different, Dez. Don't take it personal. I do everybody like that. You know what I'm saying? But he wants to win. So you just want to get guys, veteran guys, former players, just in that locker room with that competitive spirit, and hopefully it just oozes, pause if you want to, in that locker room. Yeah, hella pause. Hell yeah, pause the shit out of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you want to kind of create that environment, not only for the current players, but past players, just culturally, right? I even want it from the fan base. Now that's going to be a work in progress, Shotty. You know what I'm saying? Give me some time, but I want that competitive spirit from the fan base. I love seeing JC and Lou just competing back and forth over their film session. Like I said the other day with Big Game James, I'm going to let them battle it out, but don't think I ain't got shit to say. You know what I'm saying? I see JC, I see JC and Lou going back and forth, going bar for bar with the film sessions, and I'm just sitting back like Shao Khan, But eventually, y'all know Jay Tuck gonna jump in with this hammer and start hitting shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just waiting. You know what I'm saying? So I love that competitive spirit, and I want that in the fan base as well. So salute to the Dallas Cowboys for doing that and bringing Dez back in the building, because I've always felt like, not just as a content creator, not because that's my dog and I talk to him daily, just got off the phone with him earlier today, right? That he should be celebrated a whole lot more in Dallas than he currently is. And I know it means the world to him because he's a Lufkin, Texas. He grew up a Cowboys fan. He's a Cowboys fan just like us. You see what I'm saying? So he needs to be celebrated a little bit more, welcome a little bit more, and being around these players And I think that if there's anyone who I want to be a mentor that can teach these players about competitive toughness and spirit, is Dez Bryant. So I'm excited about that, man. So yeah, salute to Dez, salute to the Cowboys for having him in the building. But I was like, why is no one talking about this? You know, like, because it wasn't like he left and they let him come back and retire and that he's been back, you know, in the facilities and, you know, like, he hasn't done all that. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't gotten to do all that, right? So to have Dez back in the building, he said it was all love. Steven was love. Jerry loves Dez, you know what I'm saying? So it's always been love there, right? Shotty was love. Like, the coaching staff was love. He likes the energy. It's just a good thing to start doing amongst the Dallas Cowboys. So speaking of energy, my dog Lou. All right, this is where you might want to head out, Lou. This might be where you want to head out, my dog. You know what I'm saying? I've known we had extensive conversations about the Dallas Cowboys and their run game philosophy, right? You know, we talked about Coach Connor Riley coming from Kansas State. We talked about Clayton Adams. We talked about Brian Schottenheimer. You know, we talked about the run game. So I think that's been the heavy topic of discussion. But Cowboys Nation, let's keep it real. All right? Let's keep it real. We family. Let's keep it real. The run game is cool. Run game is cool. But the Dallas Cowboys did not just pay Dak Prescott. They did not just pay CeeDee Lamb. They did not just trade for George Pickens to be a run-first team. They ain't do it. They ain't do that. They ain't do that. Let's keep it a buck, right? You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. We're family. Let's keep it real. They ain't pay all that money to be a run-first team. And my dog Andy says, we ain't built to run the ball anyway. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We are not built. I'll tell y'all this. If we go to Philadelphia opening night and we run all over that Philadelphia Eagles defense, oh, Clayton Adams needs a statue out front. He need a statue out front. If we go to Philadelphia and we run on them for 185, 3 tutties, and get the win, Clayton Adams, get a statue. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what we about to do. We gonna try it. Jordan Davis gets a stop. Jalen Carter gets a stop. Maybe try another series, depending on how our defense does. And eventually, it's air this thing out. Let's air this thing out, right? So, when it comes to our passing game, it's going to be very important, not only from a Brian Schottenheimer standpoint, but also from our new pass game coordinator in Ken Dorsey. All right. Now, for some of you may not know, right? Ken Dorsey, he was a dog. So all my Miami fans out there, it's all about the U. It's all about the U talking, right? Ken Dorsey is the winningest quarterback in Miami University history. Had a 34-game win streak. Now, they were super talented, and they were doing NIL before NIL was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a buck. Salute to my guy Mike Tagg. Salute to my guy BJ Nix. I know they're Miami Hurricane guys, right? But they was NILing before you was supposed to have been NILing. You know, so they have a super superior talented team, but Ken Dorsey was the quarterback. They won that national championship in 2002, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, Heisman finalist as well. Then he kind of went around, did a little hunters. Well, in 2013, we know who the quarterback was of the Carolina Panthers. It was Cam Newton. And in that 4-year stretch, while Ken Dorsey was the quarterback coach for Cam Newton threw for 17,000 yards, had 118 touchdowns in 4 years. That's 4,300 yards average, right? And like 30-something touchdowns. In Cam Newton's career, we all know that he had the MVP season, also the Super Bowl appearance as well, right? And I went through, kind of did some research. Cam Newton spoke very highly about Ken Dorsey and said, I credit a lot of my success to Ken Dorsey, right? Now, of course, that could be Cap, but, Cam, he ain't got to bite his tongue for nobody. If he wanted to shit on the man, he could shit on the man, right? It says chopping up. Okay. So for Cam Newton and Ken Dorsey, right? Yeah, crazy numbers, bro. Insane video game numbers. Insane video game type numbers, right? Then also he left the Panthers. Was a quarterback coach in Buffalo. His first year as the quarterback coach in Buffalo, Josh Allen's QBR increased 17.4 points on his QBR, and he was second in the MVP voting in 2020. That was the whole pandemic year, right? Then he was promoted to the offensive coordinator in 2022 once Brian Daboll took the Giants job. And the Bills finished second in points scored and also second in yardage. All right. So he had some success earlier on. As an offensive coordinator in Buffalo. He's had some success working with quarterbacks with Cam Newton and also with Josh Allen. Then he got fired from Buffalo. Of course, we all remember the raging video from Ken Dorsey. He went to the Cleveland Browns last year, and let's keep it a buck, right? You know what I'm saying? It don't matter who was the quarterback, coach, or offensive coordinator. You wasn't surviving in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't want to hold what happened in Cleveland to Ken Dorsey because they were just a bad team. Deshaun Watson, you know what I'm saying? It was just, right? So ultimately, Brian Schottenheimer brought Ken Dorsey in to have him as the passing game coordinator. And so when Ken Dorsey was asked about his role in Dallas, here is what he had to say.
Describe kind of what your job title is and what your job will be this year. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm helping out with the offense, obviously, in general, and I'll be able to kind of, go where needed in terms of helping out position groups and things like that. So, it's something that I'm going to be able to help a lot with, tying the pass game with the run game and just some of the pass concepts and things like that. But it's I think more of a big picture role more so than a specific, one lane type deal.
Did you have a problem this year?
Yeah, so we hear it again, right? We've done 4 or 5 videos about this specifically when it comes to the offense. And what have we been hearing? Tying the run game and the passing game together, right? So he doesn't have a specific role, but he's going to be very influential, right? I think when it comes to Ken Dorsey, it's going to be more about his concepts, his spacing, the language, right, when it comes to working closely with Dak Prescott. And I think that it's going to be more innovative, right? It's going to be more innovative and more up to date, right? We got we all got iPhones and stuff, right? You ever just not update your iPhone software? You got the old ass software, like my old 2012 MacBook, it still has like one of the old Mac OSs on it. So I can't use certain apps anymore because it's so outdated. Now my computer works. It still works. I can type. I can get on the internet, but I can't download the updated version of Angry Birds in 4K. You know what I'm saying? That's the old iOS. You know what I'm saying? And I can't even upgrade to the new one unless I buy me a new MacBook. Because that MacBook was the one I made my very first video on for this channel, and that shit still has a DVD player on it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't put the new iOS. You know what I'm saying? Nah, Angry Bro, I can't put the new iOS on that MacBook. It'll probably blow up, right? So I can't play Angry Birds in 4K. I can play the old version, but not the new version, right? I feel like when it comes to this Dallas Cowboys offense, we are about to get the updated iOS for our laptop. Like I said, now we could work the old. We can still work. You know what I'm saying? It was still working, right? But why do keep people saying I'm skipping? How am I skipping? I don't know. We'll keep it cooking, right? But so that is where we're going to be as far as when it comes to our offense. I feel like it's going to be updated, and Ken Dorsey is going to play a very influential role when it comes to that. I've done the show the other day when it comes to Lou. We talked about the pros and the cons when it came to Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer. The one thing I really hated when it came to Mike McCarthy, right? There was some good, but there was some bad, was the spacing of his concepts when it came to the route and the passing game. There was oftentimes, and I think I did a video on this, I probably did numerous videos on this, where you would look at our route concepts and you would see one defender being able to cover 3 wide receivers, right? So I feel like Ken Dorsey's going to be able to help with the spacing and just opening things up and just innovating our offense just slightly, right? But also, of course, he was asked a magical question about Dak Prescott and Josh Allen and why he's excited to coach next to Dak Prescott. And here is what Coach Ken Dorsey had to say.
You've coached Josh Allen in Buffalo a couple years ago, now coming in and coaching Dak. Kind of how do you see Dak Prescott as a player given some of the other guys you've coached in the past?
I mean, obviously he's got a tremendous skill set. He can make all the throws, that you can ask for, whether it's short, intermediate, inside the numbers, outside the numbers, anticipating, having to drive it through a window, having to layer it over the top. He can make all those throws and has shown it. Obviously, he's got tremendous experience in this league, and
can make all the throws, short throws, intermediate, deep ball, right? Pinpoint accuracy. Oh, I know they mad. They're going to be mad at this video. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be mad at this video, but hey, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Quarterback position, the more reps you get in the game, the more you're reacting instead of thinking. It's just it's a natural reaction. You could play faster and faster and faster. And hey, I'm seeing this concept. All right, I know it's this coverage, and I just kind of know this is where the ball's going to go. So I think you see that evolution in his game, and he's being able to play so fast and make those good decisions. And I think that's going to be a key for us to continue to get him as comfortable as possible and utilize our weapons and let him continue to grow with his comfort within the system.
Exactly. Let him grow within the system, right? And this is what he was pretty much saying, because I've been explaining this to a lot of Cowboys fans, right? What is this skipping thing? I don't know the skip, bro. I don't know. We're going to continue to rock, right? But when it comes to Dak Prescott, he should be in his veteran era, right? His veteran Tom Brady, old Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers era. And what do I mean by that? It's when you've seen it all before. Right? Y'all remember when we used to play Tom Brady? It just felt like, bro, even if we dial up this blitz, it didn't matter. He's getting the ball out quick. He was just surgically carving us up. I feel like that is where Dak should be at this point in his career, right? But he still is young enough to do some of those off-script things as well. So, of course, we'll have to see what Dak looks like post-injury. But from a mental aspect, I will put Dak Prescott up against majority of quarterbacks at the NFL level, to be honest with you. I would put Dak Prescott from the mental IQ, knowing the football position, the quarterback position from a football perspective, post-snap, pre-snap, adjustments. I don't know. I mean, I guess Aaron Rodgers still, because he's still ticking, right? But it'd probably be Aaron Rodgers would be one. You can probably put Joe Burrow up there, Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. So that's what I was talking about. Now, a perfect segue. MVP for Dak is this a ha. Oh yeah, we brought them out. Welcome to the circus, y'all. All right. So here is my reasoning. Because you guys follow my channel long enough, if I'm saying it, I do have facts to back it up, right? Why I believe that Dak Prescott is prime for an MVP caliber season, okay? It's going to sound crazy. This is where some of the trolls are going to ooze in, you know what I'm saying? But they got to subscribe first, you know what I'm saying? They got to subscribe first, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like Dak Prescott is primed for a MVP caliber season. right? Because when it comes to Dak Prescott, it works every time. I mean, they're so fucking predictable. You know what I'm saying? It is so predictable when it comes to these damn Dak people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like feeding pigeons, right? All you gotta do is toss his name in a title and they will come. You know what I'm saying? Bro, Henny, dog. It's funny to think a quarterback that ended in second in MVP voting can't win it. Right. With more weapons. Right. So here is why I think that Dak Prescott is set up for an MVP caliber season. One, of course, naturally, he just has better talent. He has better talent around him with George Pickens. I'm subscribed to your channel, man. Respect you, but delusional with Dak is crazy. I'm not delusional, bro. If you're subscribed to the channel, then you should know better. I definitely have my facts. All right? So just be patient. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I had this conversation yesterday, right? Because salute to my dog, Dante, who's a subscriber. We also live in the neighborhood. And people do this all the time, right? It's like my brother does it. I got family members and cousins. It'd be like, yo, tell my homeboy at work who's talking crazy about Dak, call him and cook him because he don't know what he's talking about. You see what I'm saying? And so I'll just pick up the phone and be like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And like, so it's like I had a guy who was talking to me yesterday and he was talking about Dak and Dak this, Dak that. Just typical Dak stuff, right? Nothing too crazy. I mean, light work. It's light work, right? So I was kind of schooling him on Dak. So I get that all the time. So that's what kind of prompted today's show. All right. But when it comes to Dak in the MVP conversation, people's going to say, like JB, it doesn't make sense. How can it happen? Now, even though this is pretty much idiotic, it's really much simple because like Kenny just said, he was second MVP voting just a year ago. You know what I'm saying? But let's break it down, right? Why do I think that Dak Prescott is set up for an MVP caliber season? All right. The number one reason why is the schedule. The schedule. The schedule will drastically help. The schedule will. Anyway, bro, just ignore him. You know what I'm saying? Just ignore dude because he's tripping. You know what I'm saying? I can't have those types of conversations where someone's like, came close. Are you bragging about second place? It's facts. And if you look at it from a statistical standpoint, he should have won the MVP. But let's go ahead. I love when we have people in the chat who get emotional and they just set up the show for me. So what are you saying? One is the schedule, all right? But two, let's look at Dak's 2023 versus Josh Allen's MVP season last year. Let me make this full screen so the haters can see. All right. Dak 17 games, Josh Allen 17 games. All right. Josh Allen was 13-4, Dak was 12-5. Completion percentage 69% to Josh Allen 63. Passing yards 4,500 to Allen's 37, right? Passing yard average pretty much the same. Passing yards per game, 265 to 219. Passing touchdowns, 36 to 28. 9 interceptions to 6. QBR, 105 to 101, right? So where did Josh Allen beat Dak Prescott second place year, runner-up year? It was really on the ground with these rushing touchdowns. All right? Really on the ground and rushing touchdowns, right? But let's take it a step even further, all right? Because I know last year's kind of revisionist history, so a lot of people don't remember, right? I remember the Cowboys, yeah, JB, you're right. Cowboys lost to the Ravens. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Hold up. The Bills lost to the Ravens, too, last year. The Bills lost to the Ravens, too, last year. All right. And I remember we got beat by the Texans. You know, I was at that game, got dog walked by the Texans. Josh Allen beat the... Whoa, shit. Wait, no, Tuck, he did not. Josh Allen ain't beat the Houston Texans either. Yeah. So what made Josh Allen's season so MVP-esque, right? Who did he beat? Let me know in the chat. I pretty much guess, who did he beat? Who did he beat while everyone was watching? JB, do you know? JB, do you know? JB, can you tell me who Josh Allen beat last year when everybody was watching? That's not the question I asked you, JB. JB, I asked you a question. Can you tell me who Josh Allen beat last year when everybody was watching? Come on, baby. You say you subscribe to the channel. You say you subscribe to the channel, JB. You subscribe to the channel. You got to be. Hey, it's a CFO gang over here. We sharp, baby. We sharp. We are sharp. We are sharp over here. You taking way too much time to be subscribed to this channel, dog. You know what I'm saying? They ain't too much time. Who did he beat last year when the whole world was watching? Shit. Well, I don't think JB subscribed to the channel. I think that's cap. Arsenio subscribed because he answered that shit just like that. He beat Pat Mahomes. He beat Pat Mahomes. And he beat Detroit. And he beat San Francisco. So the main difference is he beat the high quality players or quarterbacks last year. But from a statistical standpoint, you can't tell me Dak is not fucking capable of an MVP caliber season. And this was with Brandon Cooks. This is not no George Pickens. This is with Brandon Cooks. So how can you tell me Dak Prescott is not an MVP caliber quarterback when he just did this a season ago, right? What was the main difference? Dak didn't win when everybody was watching. That's all it is. That's all it was. That's all it was. That's all it was, is Dak didn't win when everyone was watching. If Dak Prescott would have beat Josh Allen that year when we went to Buffalo, he would have probably won that award. You're right, Sport. This is it. That's it. That is the magic sauce, right? This is what Dak needs. The statistics and shit, that's easy. That is easy. That's easy work, right? That is easy work. The statistics and shit, Dak is going to go over 4,000. If he's fully healthy, he's going over 4,000 yards, right? He's probably not going to do the 18 interception shit, 19 interception shit ever again in life, right? So the numbers for Dak Prescott will 1,000% be there. What Dak now has the opportunity, the prime opportunity to do, is get those signature wins. That's it. If Dak goes opening night when the whole world is watching, ring ceremony, beats the defending Super Bowl champs, and everybody is sitting around the kitchen table on Thanksgiving, I'll be in the building, and beats Pat Mahomes in the front of the whole world on Thanksgiving, and then turns around and says Merry Christmas to Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders on Christmas, he could put up these same exact numbers and he will be the MVP. Ah, now, JB, now, oh shit, Tuck is cooking. Tuck is cooking. If you smell what Tuck is cooking, everything with the schedule is lined up from him to seize the opportunity. It's right there. It's right there. So just like the sport was saying, he just has to win signature games and signature moments. In this season, you have it. Now, I ain't even mentioned the Detroit game. I ain't mentioned Detroit. You know what I'm saying? But it's all lined. The stats, the numbers, that's easy work. Dak plays 17 games. He's getting you 4,000. Easy. So for all my sports bettors out there, all my sports, bro, why doesn't his regular season translate to the playoffs? What the fuck does that have to do with the what does this have to do with the season MVP award? The title of this YouTube show didn't say Dallas Cowboys Dak Prescott is set up to win the MVP of the Super Bowl. I said an MVP caliber season. Focus. Focus, dog. Shit, focus. Focus. You know what I'm saying? Focus for a little bit. One step at a time. All right? Because last time that I checked, word to Nipsey, I don't remember seeing Josh Allen in no Super Bowl. I don't remember seeing Josh Allen in no Super Bowl. Last time that I checked, word to Nipsey, I don't remember seeing Lamar Jackson in no Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Last time that I checked. All right? Focus. Focus. Let that hate out. Let that emotion out, right? Focus on football, the analytics. The stats say if Dak Prescott has a very similar season that he's already done, and he has 2 signature wins, even 3, he is going to be in the conversation. And if he's in the conversation, what the fuck does that mean? He had a MVP caliber season, hence the YouTube title. You know what I'm saying? Hence the YouTube title. See how that's done? Right? You see how easy that was? You see how easy that was to line it all up? And just with facts and football. I just didn't sit here. I could have just sit here on this camera right here and say, I feel like Dak Prescott's going to win the MVP because I'm Jay Tuck, the Dallas Cowboys fan. No. Lamar has been to the AFC Championship game, and Dak Prescott has been a runner-up to the MVP votes. Thought you said second place did not matter. Here's what we're going to do, right? This is another, JB, I appreciate you running the show, dog. You know what I'm saying? Run the show. This is what's about to happen, y'all. We're about to turn the phone lines on. And here's your opportunity, dog. All the Dak haters, golden opportunity. Take your shot. Take your shots. Take your shots. Take your shots, bro. We are live and lit. Phone lines are open. 530-399-4100. Access code 506-9493 and press pound. It's open.
All participants are on hold.
Now we wait. I'm going to wait. Now we going to wait. Now we wait. I don't know. We're going to sit here and wait. Now we wait. My wife don't get into the airport till 7 o'clock. We have a whole hour. We gonna sit here and vibe out for an hour. Now we wait. Bang, we got a caller. All right, let's get it. That's what I'm talking about. This the energy. Yo, caller, state your name. Where you from?
Hey, Tuck, how you doing, man? This is Mark from Louisiana.
Hey, what's going on with you, Mark?
Going pretty good. Just by the way, I think I'm listed as MAV 293
in the chat.
On the chat, I believe. Mark Anthony.
I see you, my dog. I see you right there. There you go.
Yeah, just talking about what you're talking about. It's amazing how there's a certain group of Cowboys fans that like to deal in perception and not reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I put a comment about that. You know, at the end of the year, there's only one team that'll win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Everybody else is second loser.
Right.
You know, or first loser. Like everybody talks about how, out in San Francisco, Purdy brought the 49ers all through the playoffs and all this stuff. Well, guess what? There's one team that went a little bit longer than us in not winning a Super Bowl. That's the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of teams that have never even been to a Super Bowl, much less, but you have this group of fans that have this narrative they try to spin, and it's not even close to being what the truth is. You know, if you look at the numbers, you look at the teams and see how many teams have gone a long, long time without winning a Super Bowl, all the information's there, all the facts are there. And it's like you said, they're facts. They're not opinion. They're not, pulling stuff out the air. They're actual facts.
Yep.
And like Dak, especially with Dak, and it's not that I'm sticking up for Dak.
Right.
There's the reality and there's the perception. Oh, Dak can't throw the deep ball. Well, according to the numbers, he's top 10 in throwing the deep ball.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Let him keep on talking. One of the comments I made too was that even if Dak won the Super Bowl, somebody's going to find something to complain about.
Oh yeah. Well, Eli won too, Mark. Let's see if he can go back to back, right? And I feel like what's happening, right? We know the Dallas Cowboys, how polarizing they are as far as the media attention is concerned, is that they have to find something. And so they found the hook with the Super Bowl thing, but you're pretty much throwing a goal on the top of the roof that's hard to reach, period. Like they act like winning a Super Bowl is just some easy task. So then what they'll do is they'll say, well, he hasn't been to an NFC championship, right? Let's all talk, Cowboys Nation. The Dallas Cowboys last year were the Washington Commanders. We went to an NFC championship, and we got punched in the mouth and embarrassed by Philly. Are you feeling good right now off of what happened last year? Do you feel like accomplished? No, you're not. Like it'll be even worse because we lost to Philadelphia. Either you win it all or you're just the first loser. As the great Ricky Bobby says, if you're not first, you're last. But we set these little, okay, but he's been to, but he almost got to, that does not matter. Nobody cares. When we have these arguments about Dan Marino, nobody says, well, he almost got to, or Jim Kelly got to a Super Bowl. Like, we don't say that. It's either you win it all or you fail, right? And I feel like people just kind of maneuver it because it's just Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. And there's so many people, which sadly is Dallas Cowboys fans, they buy into it. You know what I'm saying? They buy into it. They say, oh, his volume a little low. You crank him up. Okay. Yeah, but they just buy into it, and it's just blindly they buy into it, and they ignore all the facts. They ignore all of the statistics that goes against it, man. So, it just is what it is. But, I'm going to be here. There are things that Dak needs to work on. There are things that Dak needs to improve on. He's no angel, and he even said it himself, right? He talked about it, possibly being Tony Romo, because he was one of those Cowboys fans that was sitting there saying, hey, Romo has to win it or do these certain things, right? So he gets it, but there's a lot that goes into it. I really wish it was just Dak Prescott can just erase everything, bad culture, a defense that can't stop the run and do all these different things. But it's just not how it works. That's not the reality of football.
Well, and to go along with that, that same group of fans wants to bring up, oh, we're only talking about the Cowboys. We don't want to talk about the other teams, or, the past history of the Cowboys is the past history. It's not the current. It's not what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, both with Romo and with Dak, Romo was an undrafted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
And look what he accomplished. Now, yeah, he didn't win a Super Bowl, but look what he accomplished.
Right.
Dak was a fourth rounder that was supposed to be just a project. He wasn't supposed to be a starting quarterback.
Right.
And was thrown into the role and almost, with the exception of a fourth down, that Aaron Rodgers pulled out of his butt, they would have taken another step in the playoffs.
Right.
It's so. Again, it's just the narrative.
Yeah. Because let me ask you this, Mark, and everyone in the chat, right? Let's say rookie season, 3rd and 20 versus Aaron Rodgers, we get a stop, right? And then Dak wins that game, and he goes to the NFC Championship, and we lose, and he has the same career he's having now. Do you think people will give Dak Prescott grace?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. They're like, oh, well, that was his rookie season. What has he done since then? It'll be all sorts of stuff.
And I see JB saying about excuses. It's not about excuses. It's about the reality, just like you mentioned just a little while ago, that winning a Super Bowl is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that have to go right for a team to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a little while. It had been 50 years since the Chiefs had won a Super Bowl before they won with Mahomes and the group that they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see Chiefs fans calling for a new owner and new quarterbacks and everything else. They were supporting their team as fans normally should do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. You got a few vocal ones that complain about this, complain about that.
Right.
But it had been 50 years since they had won a Super Bowl. This is not excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton in New Orleans, when he wrote his book, he said winning the Super Bowl is like lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
He said there's so many things during the course of a season that have to go right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, hey, my guy, appreciate you. Of course, we got a bunch of callers calling in. But hey, man, we appreciate it. Man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate all your support, man.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Yes, facts, man. A lot of things have to go right to win a Super Bowl. Like it just happens, All right, so let's see here. Let's see who this caller is. Yo, caller, state your name. Where you from?
Yo, what's good, Tuck? It's Jason from Atlanta, brother.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Man, chilling, bro. Just first want to say appreciate you, brother, man. Watch your stuff, man. You're good people, man. So
appreciate you, dog.
Just want to say, Tuck, hear me out first, though, bro. I'm not a Dak hater.
All right.
Right? Just hear me out, bro. Just hear me out. One thing I want to say is that it's been going into year 9, and your statement earlier, I think, is what needs to get done. Dak needs his signature win, right? I want to see Dak beat teams above 500 consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I think we beat up on the East, and for a while the East was down. He beats up on teams that have maybe below 500 records. He can beat up on all those teams, and that's solid. He owns the NFC East. That's solid. I get that. But when he goes up against Mahomes, when he goes up against Burrow, when he goes up against Allen, when he goes up against whoever, I just want to see Dak be that same dude when he was beating up on Washington and sweeping the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
When he does that, I think that makes him ready and prime against the top-tier talent to go into the playoffs, win at least 2 games, and get us to the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
If I see him lose, then I feel like it's the same story again. We're going to get to the playoffs. We're going to have 12 wins. But when we get up against a team that could maybe, Dak can't scramble, Dak can't do this, then we struggle a little bit. And then sometimes, honestly, I think it's a mentality thing. Mm-hmm. I think you got dogs and you got, like, regular players. Mike is a dog, you know what I'm saying? You got dogs, and Dak, I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying I'm not trying to hate on him, but Dak sometimes doesn't seem to be a Doberman. Sometimes he's a Doberman at times, and then other times he might be like a Chihuahua sometimes. But like he's a Doberman against certain teams. I just need that same confidence level and mentality in the playoffs, bro. But some people call me a Dak hater for that. But I just think that's being real for like 9 years of watching him play.
Yeah, I 1000% agree with you, right? And I feel like that, and I think it was on, I did so many shows. It was this Big Game James' show on Tuesday, right? For some of my hunters out there, you need a certain type of deer on your mantle before you can say, I'm really like that when it comes to my hunting game, right? And I just feel like when it comes to Dak, he doesn't have the Josh Allen head on his mantle. He doesn't have the Mahomes. He doesn't have the Lamar Jackson, but also you got to remember he's in a different conference, so he doesn't play those guys often versus like a Justin Herbert. He gets to play Mahomes every year almost, so it kind of balances out, and plus you get that familiarity. So when it comes to people in the conference from the NFC, besides Purdy, of course, he has the Goffs, he has the Hurts, he has those guys, but the big dogs that everyone always puts over Dak, that is when he needs to show up. And honestly, he tried to get it last year versus the Ravens, but the Cowboys defense just couldn't get a damn stop, right? So it's like he just needs to put those heads on his mantle. But even with that, it still won't go away until he wins a Super Bowl. Let's just kind of be honest. But that should be the same for Justin Herbert. That should be the same for Trevor Lawrence. It should be the same for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and even Joe Burrow as well. But I feel like some other people get passes because they don't play for Dallas. It's win or you failed, for me personally.
No, I'm with you, bro. I think it's a process. I think this starts with Shoddy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think we're getting the mentality change right now. I think that your mentality's changing. I think Dak goes to the ride. He gets the signature wins. I think playoffs become not so big because, I asked this question, I think, to Law one time. Question for you is, when you got the scenario, 2 minutes left in the game, Cowboys get the ball, we need to go down the field, score. Some quarterbacks, you say, oh, boy, they left that dude too much time. Man, that boy's about to go down there and score a touchdown. Have you ever genuinely felt that way about that? Because half the time I'll see him go 3 and out, or it's like, oh, we're going to throw an interception, we're going to get a turnover, we're going to get stopped. You know what I'm saying? I want Dak to be in that conversation where it's like, oh, they left Dak a minute and 30 seconds. Oh, Dak's about to go down and score. They left him too much time.
So honestly, I do.
You know,
right? I do feel that with Dak, right? I do feel that with Dak. It's like, okay, you left him too much time. He's going to make a comeback. But the problem is it's going to be a holding on Tyler Guyton, or you know what I'm saying, or a drop pass is going to bump. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those types of things. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in Dak. Now everybody else, a completely different scenario. So because I have seen it, right? I've seen those types of games. You know, I talked about the first game when he came back, off of injury versus Tampa when he played on the road in Tampa, right? He fought back with prime Brady at that time, but then what happened? He scored, but he left too much time left for Tom. So it's like it's just one of those unfortunate situations when it comes to Dak. He just needs those signature moments, and I think once he has that, these conversations will be a whole lot easier to have. But until then, they're going to continue to use that against him.
Man, much respect, Chuck. Much respect, bro.
I
just want to call in support, but appreciate you, brother.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. All
right. Salute to everyone holding. We got a bunch of calls. Keep calling in. Like I said, we got time tonight. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow's the holiday. We're going to vibe out. Think I got who everyone's waiting for. Think this is JB.
I believe it.
Yo, caller, state your name. Where you from?
So,
I've
seen those types of games. I talked about
can you hear me?
First game, off of injury versus
Can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
You got to turn your TV down. Is this JB?
Yeah, this is JB.
All right, dog. Go ahead. State your case, man. Floor is yours.
I'm just going with the title about Dak Prescott being set up for MVP caliber season. Like, I don't understand with what he has not done. What leads to believe that he's going to be an MVP of the season? Because I'm looking at when I got my own channel, right? I just want to get this off. I just want to get this off real quick. I got my own channel, right?
Okay.
So 2022, 2023, coming into that season, I was saying Dak should be MVP of the Super Bowl. You understand what I'm saying? But it just seemed like when the pressure comes with Dak, he just folds, man. And this has been year after year in the playoffs.
Okay.
So even in the regular season, when he was runner-up the MVP that everybody keeps bragging about, why can't he beat the teams that give him the credit to win the MVP? When he was runner-up, Lamar Jackson, he went on the road and beat San Francisco. He beat the big teams that Dak couldn't beat, so that's why he wasn't MVP.
Okay.
And it just seems like the MVP is only about numbers with that, not the quality of wins. So with him quitting on us, last year in the Falcons game.
Hold on, bro. What do you mean quit? Pause. All right, dog. What do you mean quit? All right, I'm giving you the floor. What do you mean quit on us in the Falcons game? You mean tore his hamstring off the bone, quit?
I was at that game. And I just don't even believe he tore his hamstring off the bone because of the things he was doing after it happened. He might have pulled his hamstring.
Bro, he had surgery.
But tore it off the bone?
He had surgery.
Can we prove he had surgery?
So you think he just say, you know what? I'm just done for the rest of the season, even though the Dallas Cowboys were in playoff contention at the end of the season. He just said, you know what? I'm going to make up a whole fabricated story that I tore my hamstring off the bone, had to get surgery to get it reattached. He's sitting out currently, being inactive, all because of why?
In that game, didn't he say we suck?
Yes, but that
he said we suck, right?
So I'm trying to quiz you, right? When you say he quit, how did he quit when he tore his hamstring off the bone?
Because it wasn't saying he tore it off the bone. That was later. The way he was moving, if it was torn off the bone, even late in the next game against the Eagles, he was on the sideline jumping around, avoiding the players coming on the side of the field. If he tore his hamstring off the bone, how was he jumping around trying to avoid those guys? Do you know when tearing your hamstring off the bone, you can't even sit down for a long period of time on that. You can't stand up, walk around. He was doing all that on the sideline. I was at that Falcons game. I was recording it.
And the crunches, the crutches was fake too. When he came out
of the blue tent,
so he
was walking.
So he's Michael B. Jordan. So he's Michael B. Jordan. The crutches was fake. All of it was fake, right? The whole thing was made up. And answer
me this, Tuck. How was he avoiding tacklers coming to the sideline in the Eagles game if he was torn off the bone?
What Eagles game?
The next game after that Falcons game.
He didn't play that game, bro.
He
didn't play that game. That was all Cooper Rush, bro.
He was on the sideline. When no players came to the sideline. Do you remember that?
Bro, Dak Prescott did not play versus the Eagles.
I know he didn't play. He was standing on the sideline with the so-called torn hamstring. I made a video about it.
So he was dodging tacklers on the sideline.
Yeah.
So you're equating with a tackle coming at your feet on the sidelines and you stepping out of the way from playing the quarterback position under pressure.
He did more than that, bro. Go look at that game. This when Trey Lance threw it to Ferguson and Ferguson fumbled it. And I think the young cornerback for the Eagles picked it up. They was running to the sideline. They got pushed out to the sideline, and Dak was over there jumping around trying to avoid them from getting hit. But how is he doing that on the torn hamstring?
Bro, because there's certain things you can do, right? Have you ever sprained an ankle? Have you ever sprained an ankle?
Yeah, I sprained my ankle. I tore my groin too.
Okay, so you tore your groin, right? You could probably still move after you tore your groin slightly, right? But you cannot play an NFL football game and dodge tacklers, drop back in the pocket, plant, cut, throw, Like it's a completely different aspect from playing versus moving out the way. You're comparing moving out the way to an
NFL. Torn hamstring, he's not supposed to even. When Tyron Smith tore his hamstring, what did he do?
But I don't understand where are we getting at this. So you feel like Dak is a quitter? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I think when the pressure comes the most, but he said pressure is privilege. But when pressure comes the most, he folds. He quits.
So what pressure was there at that point in the season?
When he said we suck and that harder part of the schedule was coming up, like he was like, I got paid, so man, fuck this, I quit.
Dak did not get paid yet. Dak's contract doesn't kick in until this year, bro.
So when he just signed that deal this past season when we played the Browns.
Yes, that contract kicks in. Right? No, that contract kicks in this year, just now. Now.
Okay, he's getting paid.
So he wasn't.
He signed the deal.
So you're telling me, right? So let's walk it back. And I apologize for the callers, man, but that's what the people want, right? So you're telling me the guy, right? Because you remember this time last year, Dak was not paid, right? He wasn't under contract. Well, he was under contract, but he was searching for a new deal, right? Right? Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're telling me that the guy who decided to go to voluntary OTAs, mandatory OTAs, and also go through an entire training camp, right, as he was searching for a brand new deal, decided to quit on his team the middle of the season and say, you know what, I don't want to play no more. Let me get some fake crutches out.
Well, he signed the deal before the Falcons game. No.
Backtrack. You mean to tell me a player, bro, that sacrificed in the offseason and played when he should have really held out. Dak really should have held out. He did all of that and still competed as he was competing for a deal. Now, if he would have tore his hamstring in camp, he would have probably been SOL, right? But you feel like he did all of that just to get midway through the season and just quit just for the hell of it.
That's what it's saying to me. It ain't showing me no different. It ain't showing me no different, bro. He be good through training camp, mini camp, preseason. But when that regular season hit, he started to play against greater competition. So he checks out in those games.
The Falcons was greater competition, and that was the game where Dak said, you know what, I can't take it. The Falcons defense, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? I've been through enough. I just can't handle it. So the Falcons was defense. That was the team where he just decided to fold it and throw in the towel after he just went toe to toe with the Ravens.
I wouldn't say it was particularly the Falcons game, but what was coming up with the upcoming schedule, because that was the second half of the season where it was more playoff teams he was going to have to face.
You mean the teams that Cooper Rush?
You mean he's supposed to be our leader?
You mean the team?
How you gonna have the leader of the team, the quarterback, the most important position on the team? You gonna say your team sucked, and he was sucking because he played 3 quarters and almost into the fourth quarter, only had 100-some yards. Cooper Rush came in there and basically put up the same numbers he did in the fourth quarter.
Okay. So why didn't he quit versus San Fran the week prior, bro? That would have been a better game to quit, because wouldn't we all agree that the San Francisco 49ers is more pressure than Atlanta Falcons?
Man, if he would have quit, that would have been obvious.
What do you mean? It been obvious?
Have no way.
So you said Dak runs through he's afraid of the pressure. He doesn't want to play against the good teams. He just played versus San Francisco about a week ago. But he played that full game, but got to the Falcons and said, you know what? Fuck it. I can't deal with this no more. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because he said we suck, and he knew what. So, Tuck, you ain't answer this. Did he or did he not say we suck?
Yes, and I said it too. I said it too.
But he's the quarterback. We all can say he sucked out here sitting around on our couch, but he's the quarterback, the leader of the team.
Bro,
for him to say we suck, That's how he look at. That's how he. Hold on, JB.
So what verbiage should Dak have used when you're down 34-6 to Philly?
What verbiage?
Yeah. What?
He could like, come on, we can do this. Let's get it together. Let's refocus.
34-6, refocus.
He's supposed to be encouraging, lifting everybody up.
34-6. 34-6, bro.
I'm talking about in the Falcons game when he said that. That game wasn't far from us.
So,
but he said he's sitting on the sideline talking about we suck. He could have been like, look, let's go, fellas. Let's get it together. He could have been over there hyping everybody up. Let's not give up. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Dog.
But yeah, he said we suck.
Because we did. We were down.
If you want to.
We did, dog. We sucked. And Trey Lance shook his head and freaking agreed. We did suck. I'm not sure if you're a Cowboys fan or Cowboys. I'm not unfamiliar, bro. I apologize. But we did suck. I sat there and said the same shit.
We suck because of Dak.
No,
he's the leader. The team follows the leader. That's why we will suck. If he gonna say we suck, then he sucks. Why couldn't he change that?
So
why everybody else sucks and he don't?
So when the Baltimore Ravens lined up and ran all over us, how was Dak supposed to change it? How was Dak supposed to stop Derrick Henry? I'm talking about let's walk through the season. So you have to understand it's a team game. There's certain shit that a quarterback can't do, bro. What do you mean? I mean, even if you go back to the Green Bay game, offense roared back. Defense could not get a stop, dog. So you put
the defense stopped Green Bay on their second possession, and what did Dak do?
Dog. My dog Lou takes. Hold on.
The defense stopped Green Bay on their second possession. What did Dak do after that when he got the ball back?
He threw an interception. But listen, dog.
Okay.
Lou. Hold on. Lou just did a damn show, and salute to Lou, right? On that first drive, what was to happen when Green Bay got the ball? You remember?
They scored because
not just scored. How did they score?
They scored.
They only got two. Scored. They only got 2 third downs that entire drive, and one of them was a penalty because DeMarcus Lawrence jumped off sides. How was that Dak's fault?
No, I'm not saying, but I'm saying Dak gets the ball back.
Okay.
So what did he do when he got the ball back?
Okay. So also, how can Dak stop Aaron Jones?
That's not what I'm saying. He can stop Aaron Jones by putting points on the board and not throwing interceptions. Dak, he got to put pressure on the opposing offense, bro.
Bro, what the fuck do you mean, bro?
He made it easy by throwing that pitch.
How many points did the Dallas Cowboys offense score in that playoff game? You remember? Do you remember?
That was in garbage time. As Dak always show up in garbage time. When it mattered most in the first quarter, what did Dak do on his first possession?
I apologize, dog. I don't know, bro. So how can you say garbage time in a playoff game when everything's on the line? So in one breath, you're saying Dak Prescott quit, right? One breath, one side of your neck, Dak Prescott's a quitter, right? But then in one side of your neck, Dak Prescott gets criticized for fighting back and fighting all the way through the course of the game.
Come on, let's be real, Tucker. And I respect your football acumen, man. I respect you with your football knowledge. Let's be real, bro. Let's be real. That game was over at halftime because Dak had threw 2 picks in the first half already,
the game was not
he threw
over
one
at
pick
halftime,
on his first possession, then he threw a pick 6. How does that help the defense? The offense got to help the defense by putting points on the board.
The
defense is supposed to hold tight. You get me? But how they gonna hold tight when your offense? They're supposed to protect the lead. That he put the defense in compromising situation with his play.
So the defense didn't put the offense in compromising situation by letting them drive.
The defense held Green Bay on their second drive.
You're talking about one drive, bro, out of course of entire football game.
He went 3 and out on his first possession. Then he threw a pick on the second possession.
You're talking about one drive out of a course of entire football team, bro. That's what you're talking about?
Set the tone of the game, Pop.
What do you mean? How do you mean it set the tone? How are you saying it set the tone for the game when the Green Bay Packers offense got the ball first, dog? They got the ball first.
Okay, that's a flip of the coin, whoever gets the ball first, but Dak gets the ball back. Even if they score or don't score, Dak gets the ball back.
Just like Lou said, they scored 6 straight times, bro, not field goals. 6 straight times.
No, they didn't score. They got 14 points off of Dak. They got 14 points off of us.
But they still scored, though.
That score should have been 14-7 at halftime, not 27-7.
It was 27-7.
Come on, man.
So we came back, bro. We came back because of who? It was remotely close.
We came back because, man, look, the Green Bay defense, they was 26. They was ranked 26 in the league anyway against passing defense. And Dak throwing picks to them?
Bro.
They was ranked 26. Their defense was sorry.
Bro, if you were a subscriber to the channel, you would have understood how that was false.
Back at prevent.
I explained how that entirety was false. They wasn't a bad team, bro. Green Bay was not a cakewalk. I was trying to explain that. There's a video. You can go watch the video right now of everything that Green Bay did to us. I said was going to happen because it was in the scouting report, bro. But I don't understand, how do we pivot from having a conversation of talking about Dak Prescott being the MVP caliber discussion to some random game?
I don't think he's gonna be MVP, even with picks, bro. Even with Pickens, bro. I just don't see it with him, man. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's just my viewpoint on that. I don't see him being MVP.
But you have to give me a contextual. No, bro. That might work where you get your trim ups, bro. But here you have to have context. Give me a contextual reason why it can't happen when he just did it a year ago.
He did what a year ago?
He was an MVP caliber player, bro. He literally was second MVP voting.
He got one vote, man. Y'all hanging y'all hat on one vote? One vote, man? Come on, man. That's nothing. Plus, do you understand what the term? In the Eagles defense, they passing defense was last in the league.
Do you understand, bro, what MVP caliber means?
Against a weak NFC East division, bro.
Do you mean what MVP caliber? Do you know what MVP caliber means?
He's not MVP. So you saying one vote make him MVP caliber?
Yes. Damn, bro. If you were second in voting for MVP, you had an MVP. They could have picked Mahomes. They could have picked Justin Herbert. They could have picked Josh Allen. They could have picked anybody. You know they don't like Dak like that. The reason why they picked Dak because Dak is
33-8. Dak is 33-8 versus a weak NFC division at that time, bro.
So what do you want him to do? You want to pack up and move to the AFC West?
That schedule wasn't that hard that season.
Do you want us to pack up and go to the AFC West? Wait, what do you want him to do?
I want him to play better against better teams.
No, you want the team to play better versus better teams.
They have. When we played Kansas City, the defense held Kansas City to 19 points. That's when they had Tyreek Hill and all those monsters over there.
No, that was not the game, bro. That was not that 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 game. When we played Kansas City, Tyreek Hill wasn't there.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Oh yeah, what? That was when Kansas City. That's when.
They had Travis Kelce. They had the monsters at that time.
But that's when CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper was missing that game, bro.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
What do you mean? There we go. Man. What do you mean? There we go, bro. What do you mean? There we go.
So the defense held them to 19 points, and because hold on. CeeDee Lamb did play that game.
No, bro, he had a concussion. I was there, bro. Amari Cooper wasn't there because of COVID. CeeDee Lamb went out with the concussion. I was literally there at Arrowhead.
So he couldn't do nothing else. All he put up was 3 points.
Do something else with who? Who is he supposed to do something else with? Who else can go into Kansas City, go into Arrowhead, and beat Pat Mahomes with they 4-string wide receivers?
He had more than that. He still has Zeke. He had Pollard. What you mean? He still had tight ends he could play with. I'm saying if y'all can project him to be MVP type caliber, don't MVP type caliber players do MVP things regardless of who's around them?
Bro,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm projecting. He just did it.
MVP, second runner up to MVP, All Pro. When does he ever elevate other players around him on the team to carry him? At least 1 or 2 games, he should be able to do that.
What do you mean, bro? That whole MVP caliber season he was carrying, bro.
Carrying who?
He was carrying. Who was the threats on our offense? Our run game wasn't crazy that year. Let me pull the stats up. Maybe you have missed it. You know what I'm saying? Who was carrying our offense when we threw for 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions with a QBR 105? Who was carrying it? Who else carried the offense? Who carried Dak? Is that so?
Like I said, in 2023, he played against a weak schedule and then played against the NFC East, which was weak at the time. It was easy for him to do what he do because when he got to the playoffs, he didn't do none of that.
So you thinking Detroit was an easy team? Is that what you're saying?
Detroit. Mm-hmm. You talking about 2023 when we barely won at the end?
No. A win is a win, bro. So now it's a barely won at the end.
I know.
So that don't count.
I got that. That you talking about that Detroit? Was this past year when we got smoked by Detroit, or you talking about 2023?
I'm not talking about the past year when we got smoked by Detroit. No, I'm talking about the MVP season because Dak ain't had nothing to do with that.
Okay, I'll give y'all that one vote for MVP, man. Okay. Y'all gonna hang y'all hat on that? I just don't see him being MVP this season. I don't see him being any type of caliber MVP.
I get it, bro. We can say what we see and how you feel. And I think that's the difference, bro. I'm gonna give you a little game. You know what I'm saying? Because I appreciate you for calling in and saying this long, bro. As a content creator, you're gonna have to toss that what you feel shit out the window.
Toss out the window. What I feel.
No. You're going to have to toss it out the window, bro, because what you feel is not going to equate what's reality. What is reality is that just 2 years ago, he had an MVP caliber season. Just 2 years ago. His offense has improved. Okay. His wide receiver core has improved. We just went through the improvement of the numbers that Ken Dorsey has historically showed. And I've also talked about those players that you're talking about are on the schedule. Everything is in front of Dak Prescott to have an MVP caliber season. I don't care what you feel. It's what do the analytics in the context of the conversation says, bro. We can feel whatever. I can feel like Kim K is going to knock at my door right now and say, take me, Tuck. No, that's not the reality.
Bro, I don't feel, maybe you misunderstood me. I don't feel, and I know he's not going to have no MVP.
You hope. You're hoping. You're
from
hoping.
What he's shown me throughout his career,
It ain't it, dog. So you can't say what he's shown me throughout his career, he is not capable of an MVP caliber season when he just did the shit 2 years ago.
Nope.
That's wild, bro.
I don't see it.
Yeah, hey, I feel you, bro. I feel you, dog. But hey, man, best of luck. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck.
Yes,
appreciate you for calling in. You know what I'm saying? At least you had the courage to do it. But hey, bro, you're going to have to get in the lab. You want to have to get in the lab, bro, because that hope, that feel, is not going to work. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, but I'll say, we put it like this. We will see. That's all I can say. We will see.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see how it all translates. Let's see how it works out under Shoddy. Let's see, right? I'm a will see guy too. But to say that a man can't do something, is not capable of doing something that he just did 2 years ago, it's just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see if it was his rookie season, like, oh, he's past that. You know, like, bro, he literally did that 2 years ago. Like, he literally just did it 2 years ago when everybody was saying Dak Prescott was interception prone.
So you saying that one vote, it qualified him to be MVP caliber. So how many votes do you get for the MVP?
I don't know. It depends on who's all the voters. I don't know, like 150 or something like that.
Is it 100 or 50?
Huh? The 150?
Is it 100 votes or 50 votes?
I think it's like 100 or something like that.
Okay, so out of 100 votes, he only got one.
Okay.
And we're gonna hang our hat on that as being the MVP caliber season?
Yes, bro. Yes.
So
do you not know? Hold on. So do you not understand that you can have what we call unanimous MVPs? Do you know what that term means?
Yeah, we can have dual MVP. Didn't Peyton Manning and who was that? Peyton Manning and somebody won.
There's been tons,
dual
right?
MVP,
There has been tons, but there were people who looked at it and said, you know what? Dak Prescott is having an MVP caliber season. He is worth a vote.
So, okay, I give you that.
So that's what MVP. I didn't say Dak Prescott will win the MVP unanimous, bro. He's gonna have an MVP caliber season. All I'm saying is, if Dak does this shit and he beats Jalen Hurts or beat Justin or Pat Mahomes, he will be in the MVP conversation. It's really not rocket science, bro. It's really not. If he does 4,500.
I mean, I get that. He was in the MVP conversation that year.
Okay,
you know
that's what I'm saying.
He didn't win MVP. He got one vote. I just think it to me will solidify him. Out of the 100 votes, give me like 50. Give me 48 or something like that. Then I could be like, yeah, okay. That's a second runner up the MVP. But one vote touch out of 100? Come on, man. That's low expectations right there. And that's what I'm saying with that. I don't see any high expectations going on for this guy.
You watch music, you listen to music, right? I can still be a Grammy nominated rapper without winning the Grammy, right? Right?
But you was nominated. Okay, you was nominated, but you didn't win.
Okay, exactly. So but that still means that my album was.
One vote is a nomination?
Huh?
You saying that one vote is a nomination means he won Grammy?
Yes, bro. Yes.
All right, man. I appreciate you for letting me.
All right, dog. Best of luck, man. Hey, dog. Hey,
it's all love. You know what I'm saying? I just got a different perspective, man. That's all.
All right, I feel you, man. It's all good, bro. But yeah, gotta stay in the lab, my dog. Appreciate you, man. All right, bro.
All right, I got you.
All right.
See.
Let's see. Woo, child, gonna give me the sugars. Gonna give me the sugars, y'all. Whew. I don't know, dog. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I took the call, y'all, because at least he had the courage to call in. That's all I wanted. All I wanted someone to show the courage and call in. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We got some other callers. I'm going to lock it. But everyone who's in the queue right now, I'm going to get to y'all. But I don't know, yo. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I am. You know what I'm saying? But I respect them for actually having the courage, because a lot of these people, they don't have the courage to do it. So hopefully that might be the last one today. All right. I know who this is. Let's get a little football refresher, because I got my guy B Bird on. I know we're gonna get some detoxify our spirits and kind of get back, man. B Bird, what's going on with you, dog?
Nothing much. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay. So one of the things, man, is always kind of, I have friends that are Cowboy fans, and they do not like Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, I wasn't a big Dak Prescott fan, because I felt like the first year, his rookie year, I think they should have went back with Romo, a more experienced quarterback. And I just so then, but with more evidence, I started watching him, and I started seeing him progress as far as a passer, and I got on board.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what ends up happening, man, is that I think it's almost a psychological thing to me. This is me personally. I think that every Cowboy fan knows that the Joneses are the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But since they can't do anything about the Joneses, then we go to the next low-hanging fruit, which is Romo and Dak Prescott.
Right.
So I think it's just like I can't do nothing about them. It's like a fixed. Like there is a given that the Jones are going to be there, so we can't say nothing about them or do anything about them. So let's go to the next thing, which is the quarterback.
Right.
But here's the deal. So my favorite offense, with the exception of the 90 teams, would be the 2014 team when we had Murray and Romo, and we ran the ball down people's throat. If you want to stack the box, we threw the ball. It was pretty simple, but we were even-handed. What I am a diehard Cowboy fan from a long time ago, so I cannot stand the Eagles. But what you find is you start to look at them and start respecting what other teams do. What they did with Jalen Hurts is say, we're going to pay you like a franchise quarterback. Well, we're going to act like we're not even paying you. We're going to build this team around you, just like you're just an average quarterback. And so that's what they did. The Cowboys and the Joneses have never done that around Dak Prescott. They'll sign Dak Prescott and say, hey, it's all on you. We're going to go as far as you go. So we got to start building this team, and the fans got to understand and look at the rosters. If you look at the Eagles roster, it's no group. We're talking about last year. It's no group. D-line, O-line, linebackers, DBs, running back, quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends. There's no room that we were better than them in. So what that goes back to the GM. That goes back to player acquisition. And that's the thing that we don't want to deal with. We want to go out there and say, hey, we got these big-name guys. Yeah, but how's your room? You know what I'm saying? Like, how's your offensive line? Because at the end of the day, we cannot run the ball. And what we've done is put everything on Dak Prescott's back, man. And to be honest with you, he's a good quarterback, but I don't think too many quarterbacks can deal with that, man.
Right.
Like, he's putting everything on him. And so what we have to do is kind of operate, and I think we're kind of going in that direction. We got Booker this year. We got Pickens. We got some new running backs, which a lot of people are down on. I'm a little bit higher on them because they're still young guys. They still got a lot of tread on them. We drafted a running back, so we're going into the right direction. And we got a coach that if he, dedicates himself to the run in his run game, his offensive line, then what you'll have is going back to 2014 when Romo didn't have to shoulder the whole load. If you go back and look at Romo's career, that's the best year he ever had, efficiency-wise. And that's what you want. You want your quarterback to be efficient. You don't want these 300 and 400-yard passing games because, tell you what, that's not going to happen in Philadelphia in January. That's not going to happen in Washington and Green Bay in January. You're going to need run game and you're going to need run defense. And that's the two things that the Cowboys have sucked at over the last 3 or 4 years and probably longer than that. So I know that the low-hanging fruit is Dak Prescott because, yeah, he did throw interceptions in that game. But my thing is, he shouldn't have been put in that situation.
Right.
And one thing I'll tell you this before I leave, man, I can't think of the guard for the Knicks, but he hit a shot in the playoffs this year. And the coach asked about it, and he ended the series. And I can't think of his name, but the coach asked about it, and he said, man, I love this quote. He said, he's at his best when his best is needed. And I thought that quote just rung a bell with me because the Cowboys of recent, and this is including Dak, has not been at his best when best was needed. And we're talking about Michael Parsons. We're talking about Diggs. So who has stepped up for this team and played better than they normally have in our playoff games? We just have not had those guys stand up, and that's including that too.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So we need a culture change, man. And this is what I do, man. And I'll tell you, I know this is simple. But my daughter played softball, high school softball, played softball. What I did with her is I would take pressure off. I would see other parents try to tell their kids, choke up, do all this other stuff. I just tell her, hey, see ball, hit ball.
Right.
And then next thing you know, my daughter's hit me well, but your daughter's struggling because you got to thinking too doggone much. Go out there and play the game. Don't think. You're thinking too much. You're overthinking it. You're putting pressure on yourself. Now you're going to make mistakes.
Right.
You need a coach to come in here that's going to alleviate the pressure off Dak Prescott and off the team. That's what a good running game does. And so that's why we got to come in this year and establish a running game, man. And if we don't establish a running game, next thing you know, we're going to be waiting on what we need Dak to throw 4 touchdowns and 350 yards. That's the only way we're going to win. And anytime any quarterback throws for that much, things are going to happen, man. So I do understand the frustration with the caller, but I think it's kind of misplaced. I think it's the way this team has been built. And I'm not talking just for Dak Prescott. We can go back to Tony Romo. They've never really built a team around him. They just said, we paid you this much money, and we expect you to show up and do all these other things. Right. I just don't think that's the proper way to build a team, man.
Yeah, 1,000% B Bird. And Lord knows, I mean, you've been following me long enough. I've tried to put the pressure on the front office, but they just keep getting away with it. It's like a horror movie. They keep just sliding out of it. And yeah, I think it's just easier to point the blame at the players. I mean, sometimes, of course it's on the players, but Dak Prescott, in particular, because remember that Green Bay season, we were all screaming. I made thousands of videos about get a linebacker. They didn't get a linebacker, right? We didn't get one. And so, of course, we get all ran over, but then it's Dak Prescott's fault. So it's like, if you are wanting Dak Prescott to be the quarterback that has to overcome a lack of free agency acquisitions, kind of sitting back in the draft, not getting, room shakers and into the impact guys, then yeah, maybe I'll agree with you. Dak Prescott's not that guy. But, talked about Jalen Hurts, B Bird, Jerry Jones said publicly, Dak has to learn to do more with less. And that's crazy coming from your ownership. Yeah, but I don't think he wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? He was dead serious when he said it, which is crazy. So
absolutely. Well, let me tell you this too, Touch. And I think what it is, if you really think about this, is a product of the owner being the GM. Right. Because what he does is he gets into his feelings, man. Mm-hmm. And so in negotiations, just like a couple of years ago, when negotiations broke down with Dak, well, what did he do? He went and got Trey Lance, and people say, well, that was a strategic move. No, it wasn't. Right. It was an emotional move.
It was bitter.
And so it was an emotional move because he didn't check with anyone in the franchise. He just went out and made the move because he was trying to build up, leverage against Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is that's where these comments come from, because you're in a tough negotiation. You don't want to give up. You lose the negotiation. Now you want to come out with a statement, we're going to go as far as he is. You're actually pulling against the guy because you're pissed.
Right, you're mad.
That's why the GM ownership thing should never be. That's why a player should never be his own agent.
Yep.
And that's why the owner should never be in that negotiating, man, because y'all gonna get the player get his feelings hurt too. That's why he has an agent.
Yep.
And the GM is gonna get his feelings hurt too. And next thing you know, you want to bring that to the field. And that's why the separation needs to be there, but it's not. And we've seen that happen a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to jump off here and let somebody else get on, man.
All right,
just wanted to kind of just share that word, brother.
All right, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, B Bird. Yeah, that's one of the OGs in the game, man. Ooh, that's now we're getting back, see. Okay, but salute to the super chats, man. I apologize, I missed them. My guy Jason with the $20 super chat, appreciate you. Said respect, bro. Angie in the chat for the $10 super chat says cook them. It's just but yeah, I agree with B Bird with exactly what he's saying. Like, I would love for the Dallas Cowboys to actually say, you know what, Dak is our guy. We are going to do everything to make sure he wins a championship versus. He'll just have to figure out if he does it, he does it. If he doesn't, he don't. So it's just one of those things. All right, you got two more callers in here. Let's get it. Yo, caller, state your name. Where you from?
What's going on, Tuck? This is Hoodie Cook from the Basement Boys. What's the deal with
what's up, dog? What's going on with you, bro? How you doing?
I was doing good until I heard the bull JB get on, man. This dude is of the worst kind. Of the worst kind.
What is Stephen A? Let's be nice. You're not wrong. Let's be. No, I don't know. I don't know, dude. So I apologize if he's a content creator. I'm just unfamiliar with him, so I guess but it's just like I don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just know.
I've been dealing with this guy since I started getting on Angry and Sports Junkie show like a year back. You know what I'm saying? We get on facts over feelings, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And this will be like the ongoing thing. Like, oh, well, Dak Prescott doesn't do this. He doesn't elevate that. He doesn't do that. If Dak Prescott didn't elevate anything, why is it that CD is a 1,000-yard receiver since he's been in the league?
Right.
If Dak Prescott doesn't elevate anything, how is it that Blake Jarwin, Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, the list goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. And then how is it that these guys are able to get contracts if Dak doesn't elevate anybody? Mm-hmm. I guess it's just them, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, Dak's led the league in tight window completions for the past 3-4 years.
Right.
I don't want my quarterback to have to do that. That tells me that my receivers aren't getting separation. Mm-hmm. That tells me my quarterback has to be pinpoint accurate.
Right.
So to say that this guy doesn't elevate anybody, and CD in Dak's MVP year had over 1,700 yards, You're fooling yourself.
Right.
You are fooling yourself. I'm not going to sit here and act as if Dak is perfect. He's not. The 2 San Francisco games.
Right.
Yeah, he could have been better. He could have been a lot better. But if you're going to sit here and tell me his rookie year against the great Aaron Rodgers, he goes down, pushes the ball downfield, gets us the lead, and then the defense gives up a miracle play for a miracle field goal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You mean it that, like, I'm not going to do that. I can't sit here and allow that. You know what I'm saying? All right, fine. Dak threw 2 interceptions in early in the Green Bay game.
Right. He
early
recovered.
in the Green Bay game. I'm going to say this again. Early in the Green Bay game. First quarter type work. And we still only lost by 16, which means it was 48-32.
Right.
I don't care if it's garbage time. When you're down, it's never garbage time.
Right. Especially with the last game of the season, with the season on the line, bro. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as garbage time, bro. When your season's on the line, you fight all 4 quarters.
I don't even know what that means.
It's a lazy term. Right. It's a lazy term that was used because I'm not gonna get it. But here's the thing: garbage time does not exist, y'all. It really doesn't exist unless they were to pull their starters out or something like that. Completely different scenario. But I'll tell people, I was sitting at that Green Bay game, Hoodie, and there was a point that I really felt, oh shit, is Dak about to do this? Hold on. So I started standing up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was sitting down leaving. And I'm just sitting there, holding my jersey like, oh shit, Dak's about to rally. And as soon as he did, they said, nope, defense can't get a stop today, Tuck. You know what I'm saying? So sit your ass back down. I said, all right, bro. Y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Y'all got it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I was saying. That whole second half, come on, defense. All we need is a stop.
Right.
You get a stop, we can go down 8.
Right.
Come on, defense. All we need is a stop.
They said no, not today.
Those things,
they said not today. And it was wide open touchdowns. It wasn't like they had to work there. It was just massive, wide open loop.
Wide open. Jake Ferguson had 2. CD had 1.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you act as I don't know where people think that the quarterback. I don't care what quarterback it is. I don't get where people think it's just the quarterback who has to. Patty Mahomes didn't just win 3 Super Bowls.
No.
Patty Mahomes wasn't the only one to win 3 Super Bowls. That defense played a big part in it.
Right. 1,000%.
Travis Kelce played a big part.
Big part in it. Right.
7th round pick Isaiah Pacheco played a big part in it.
Right.
So we're not going to sit here and act like the quarterback has to be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're not going to do that. Look at last year's Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts didn't win that Super Bowl.
Right.
That defense made the necessary plays to get the necessary stops in order to make it easier. Saquon Barkley, being the threat that he is, forced the defense to play one-track minded.
Right.
Play the run. We got to deal with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And that gave him the opportunity to just toss it over the top.
Yep.
So I'm not like this whole Dak Prescott. Oh, he's the reason he won't be MVP. Listen here, Dak was an MVP caliber quarterback with just one receiver.
Right. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, he literally
in a minuscule running game.
Right. Yeah.
A minuscule running game.
Yeah.
Now you're giving this dude
and a rookie at left tackle. You know, like.
This
is like,
which in turn takes that one receiver that everybody had high hopes on for the past 4 years, and Jalen Tolbert, and pushes him down to wide receiver 3 by committee. So you mean to tell me you're giving these dudes an opportunity to go up against ancillary pieces,
right?
While you still got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens with that? Come on, man, cut it out.
Yep.
If this dude don't win MVP, it's because they decided. Because Dak said, nah, let's just run the ball.
Right, right.
If he don't win the MVP, it's because he decided, nah, this defense is just going to play the pass. Let's run the ball.
Right.
That's the only way it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
We all know when teams come to play the Cowboys, they come to play.
Right. They come to play.
They come to
get your best shot.
Right. They come to play.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get half-assing it from these other teams.
Right.
They may half-ass it with the other teams that they play, but they're not going to play the Cowboys like that.
We're going to get Carolina Panthers' best shot.
Quit? Are you serious?
Yeah, quit,
How
bro.
can you say Dak quit?
Dog, I don't.
Come on, man.
I don't.
He was right.
I don't know, bro.
He was right. We fucking suck.
Yeah, we right, bro. I was saying the same thing.
We were trash.
Yeah, like I don't.
We couldn't run the ball because of the indecision of the head coach. We still couldn't get separation. We only had one receiver. Jake Ferguson was up and down because of the injuries. You know what I'm saying? So then we had 2 rookies on the offensive line. So it's all on Dak though.
Right. It's wild,
all on Dak,
bro.
but we had 2 rookies on the offensive line. One did a lot better than the other, but we still had 2 rookies on the offensive line.
Right.
Jalen Tolbert as your 2.
Right.
As your 2. And you're telling me that you expected this dude, oh yeah, well I wanted him to be the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Right.
You tripping.
Right.
What you need to do, this is something I tell people. This is something I try to tell people on my channel. There's needs and there's wants. What we want is a Super Bowl. Right. But what we need to do is put ourselves in a position to be able to fight for said Super Bowl.
Right.
We need to win X amount of games in a regular season in order to get to the playoffs so we can play to get to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Needs and wants.
Right.
Everybody's worried about what they want. Oh, well, I want Jair Alexander. I want Nick Chubb. I want this one and that one. Why don't we go get him because he's leaving? And why don't we go get that? But if the Eagles didn't show you anything last year, Zach Bond was a special teamer for the Saints. Do you know what Zach Bond is now?
Right. He's an anchor for defense.
Is an all-pro Super Bowl winning linebacker.
Facts.
He was a special teamer for the Saints. Nobody knew who Zach Bond was.
Right.
Just like everybody say they don't know who Kyer Elam is or Kenneth Murray or Jack Sanborn. Yeah, you don't have to know who they are, but the coaches on the field do.
Right.
Because they're working closely with them. I don't think Eberflus is just going to bring in a bunch of trash.
Right.
I don't think that's what he's going to do, especially in the linebacker position where he's known to make his hay. You know what I'm saying? But correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I don't think he's going to do that.
Right.
I don't think. And one of my biggest gripes is a lot of people like, oh, well, we don't even know who he is. Why would we want somebody else's trash? Well, here's why you want somebody else's trash, because a change of scenery is probably needed, and you can probably get a lot more out of them with a change of scenery.
Right.
Think about it. Kyer Elam played where? In Buffalo, one of the coldest destinations. George Pickens played where? The locker room problem. You know, George Pickens, the YN, played where? In Pittsburgh,
right.
One of the coldest areas in the nation. They're in Dallas now.
Indoors.
They're in Dallas where I don't think it can get anywhere. And then on top of that, George Pickens was already a 1,000-yard receiver by himself in Pittsburgh with shitty quarterback play.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't get what people are talking about. Like, well, no, not people, because it ain't all of y'all. I love my chat. You know what I'm saying? It's not all of y'all. We know who it is. You know, the ass clowns of the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and shit on my quarterback or my wide receiver, no matter what spot they're in.
Right.
Wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 6, running back 1 to running back 4. I'm not going to shit on none of them because these guys. There's no way you can get to the NFL and be trash.
Right. Exactly.
There's no way.
Exactly.
You can't be trash.
Exactly.
Because you're in the NFL for a reason. You have a trait. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to seeing. I know they did not go in there and start already. I'm looking forward to seeing. For real? I'm sorry, bro. I'm at work right now. This dude jumping the gun on. It's me and you. It's me and you. It amazes me how the naysayers who call themselves fans of this team won't do the research.
Right.
Dak Prescott is historically a great quarterback.
Right.
Historically, if you look at it, if you look at his numbers leading up to his 10th year, he's like between number 3 in some statistics and number 5 in others.
Right.
He's up there with the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes's. He's up there with those guys. He's up there with the Drew Breeses of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to sit here and call him trash because Justin Herbert hasn't won a Super Bowl.
Right. Yep. Justin Herbert, Josh
Allen hasn't won a
Allen,
Super Bowl.
Trevor Lawrence, like all the little favorites, right? Haven't won a Super Bowl. But they just get passes. You know, they just get passes, right? And I always tell people this, right? Think about this. Think about this, Eddie, bro. Matt Stafford, right? A lot of people felt like Matt Stafford was just a stat guy, but he wasn't a good quality quarterback and couldn't win one. He goes to the Rams. They put him in the best situation. They surround him with a plethora of talent. He becomes a Super Bowl MVP. You know what I'm saying? It's really that. Look at Baker Mayfield, how his transitions happened from going from Cleveland to Carolina, getting batched around, and then now he goes in a good situation and things change for him. Look about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was written off from the NFL, goes to a great situation in Minnesota. So it's like, I don't know, bro. It's just, I don't know. It's just, here's the thing, y'all, when it comes to these conversations, which I get it, right? But this is what we do. The people who already made these biases about Dak Prescott, they're not going to change. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to change. We can literally show you Dak on crutches. We can show that he had his surgery on November 19th. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to be like, he just quit.
Is there proof that he got surgery?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What do you mean proof, bro? We literally have AI on his phones, bro. Like, ask Siri. Siri will tell you. Hold on.
He literally said, I felt something.
Let me try this.
That I never felt before. And then I asked the trainers, is it something that I can make worse?
Right.
They said yes. He said fine. He relented.
Right. Hold on one second.
If he's asking
hey,
him,
Siri.
is it something that...
Hey, Siri, when did Dak Prescott have his surgery on his hamstring?
I believe it was in March, wasn't it?
November 19th.
November 19th.
That's all bro had to do. That's all bro had to do.
We don't know that.
That's all bro had to do. That's all bro had to do. That's all bro had to do was literally pick up his phone, ask Siri. Yeah.
My man literally said, I felt something I've never felt before. So I go to my trainers and I ask them, is it something that I can make worse? They said yes.
Yeah.
He relented and sat his ass down.
Yeah.
So when you go to somebody and ask them, is this something that I can make worse? They say yes. Is that quitting?
Right. Right. That means he wanted to play. He was getting ready. He probably would have played. You know?
He probably listen. If they just said, bro, it's up to you. It's your life.
Right.
He probably would have went back out there.
Right.
And then messed himself up more.
Right.
Then we wouldn't have a quarterback right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like we wouldn't have one. Now, again, historically he's been great. Within this past 5 years, he's had his ups and downs. He's probably missed a few years, but I say he's been in the playoffs 7 times, right?
Right.
He's been in the playoffs 7 times in his 10-year stint. That's got to count for something. How many times has Tony Romo been in the playoffs in his 10-year stint?
And here's what people are forgetting, right? They say the regular season doesn't matter. We got to stop acting brand new because under the Mike McCarthy era was the first time we made the playoffs in back-to-back consecutive years. You know what I'm saying? So let's stop acting all brand new that we've been doing this, you know?
Yeah. Real talk. Look, again, needs and wants. What you need to do is win X amount of games to get to the playoffs.
Right.
That's what you need to do.
There's no way around it.
What you want is that Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what you want.
Right.
All teams want a ring. In the beginning of the year, they say, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's our year.
Right.
Regular season starts. It don't work out that way for a lot of teams.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But for those who did the necessary things to get to where they needed to be, which is the playoffs, in order to jockey for position to play for said Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what you have to do. And to just think that this dude, to think that this dude isn't capable of coming off of an injury like he just suffered, again, to do the same thing, again, lead us to the playoffs, again, for the 8th time in his 10-year stint, that's got to say something. That's got to say something. I'm not going to take kindly to people bad mouthing the dude when I've seen with my own eyes what he can actually do.
Right.
When things are run the right way.
Right.
Like Mike McCarthy, he didn't have any. You saw it last year, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You got to agree with me on this. Mike McCarthy did not show any conviction in any of the play calling that he was calling last year.
Right.
When it came to the run, when it came to the pass, even on defense, there was a lack of conviction. Which, and they say attitude reflects leadership, correct?
Yep, facts.
Attitude reflects leadership. Well, if there's no conviction in your leadership, ain't gonna be no
conviction on the field. Exactly, bro. It's common sense, but we kind of just understand it, bro. But hey, appreciate you for calling in, my guy. Keep doing up the great work, man. But yeah, some of these conversations kind of hard to have, bro. You know, it's hard to have. You can literally ask Siri, y'all. If you have an iPhone, ask Siri. They will tell you when Dak Prescott had his surgery. But I guess that's fake too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I said, if you're gonna be a content creator with that type of content, bro, best of luck. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck, dog. But hey, appreciate you, my guy, for calling in.
Man, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, man.
All right,
I'll get with you later. You heard?
All right, appreciate you, dog. Have a good one.
All right, now.
Yes, Siri literally just told me when Dak had the surgery, dog. It was really that simple. All that arguing, but Dak just wanted to be on crutches because it's a look. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember back my older cats, like back in the day when like having a cast on and people used to sign your cast and stuff. So people kind of like fake like they broke their arm and stuff, just have a cast so people could sign their arm. I guess that's what Dak was doing. He's wanted to kind of fake an injury. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, last caller, man. State your name.
Okay, this is Deshaun. What the fuck? What? Wow. Like that was probably one of the worst arguments I have ever heard. You cannot go into an argument talking about feelings and emotions. I get it. He can throw interceptions. I get it. He's not perfect. I get it.
Right.
But Tuck, let's keep it funky. When Brady won against Mahomes, what happened? What happened to that situation? Why did Brady win that game?
We were all praying in that draft that Micah Parsons could turn into Devin White. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We all want, oh man, maybe Micah can be like Devin White because Devin White just caused havoc on Pat Mahomes and that offensive line. You know? Crazy.
And so what I'm not getting from Cowboy fans is this. This is a team game. I don't care how you put it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a team performance. If one player messed up, we've seen it in the Green Bay game. What happened? When players don't communicate and they don't understand the same page, what they give up? Easy touchdown.
Right.
Easy touchdown. Without no effort, no trying, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I need Cowboys fans to understand is this. In order to get into the ring to box somebody like a heavyweight, you have to think like a heavyweight, you have to act like a heavyweight, and you have to be able to carry yourself like a heavyweight. What happened after we won that game, I think it was before we went to the Cardinals and Trevon Diggs got happy. What happened? We got worked.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we thought we was it. We just beat up the Giants. We this, we that, we this, and got into the Cardinals game and got worked.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you get overconfident. You think you're the ish when you're really not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue and that's the problem.
Yep.
What happened in the Green Bay game? I'm just gonna get my ticket to the next game when we come through and this. I'm like,
I tried, bro. Lord knows I tried.
What you mean?
I tried.
You got a team to play.
We don't lose at home. You know, we got the highest score. No, it's my favorite about that, bro. Oh no, Tuck. We'll be fine at home because it's quiet and we can and the office can hear the here we goes. Oh, that's what it is. They're like, oh no, yeah, because the offense hears the here we goes better at home than on the road, so that's why we don't lose at home. I was like, all right, bro. I mean, God bless you.
So, all right. So another thing I want to talk on is let's say the elite quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all these people. So in these playoff games, I feel like people are forgetting that's happening. Defense made crucial stops.
Mm-hmm.
Defense did certain things to get them or keep them or to win the game on multiple occasions. Happened with Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
It happened with Lamar. It happened with Mahomes. Like, it comes to a point with this. I think the problem is with the Dak Prescott situation is this. We put everything on Dak and say, Dak, go win us that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that works.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. Even Stephen A. and Mike Parsons had a conversation. Stephen A. kept trying to, hey, what's going on with your quarterback? Something's wrong with your quarterback. You know what Michael said? He said, they ain't got nothing to do with that. It had something to do with us.
Right.
It's the defense. We have to take pride in stopping that opposing offense. We have to take pride in being able to say, you know what? I don't care if my quarterback threw 2 interceptions. You know what happened? Mahomes threw interceptions before, but what happened? The defense stood up and got the stop they needed because they knew, hey, if we just give Mahomes a chance, one chance, we can win this game. And it happened. That's how NFL football is performed.
Right.
Not everything's going to be a blowout. Not everything's going to be an easy cakewalk. You got to go through the fire, and you got to be ready to throw them blows. But my issue is I think the team Tuck is relying so heavily on Dak
Prescott
that they're not performing to their best of their ability.
You're facts, because here's what I'll say, bro. Think about that season, just other seasons. I feel like when Dak goes down in his Cooper Rush, that's when the defense feels like it's all on us. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to hold teams to 17 points, and, you know, we got it because they don't believe in the offense, so they really rally. But then Dak comes back, it's like, oh, shit, it's on his tab, bro. Because even the other day when Micah Parsons was like, oh, we don't have to worry about the stopping the run because when we were scoring points, we had – come on, dog. Like, no. You shouldn't say, since we got CeeDee Lamb now and George Pickens, now defense can chill because teams are going to have to score and keep up with our offense. Hell no. You should be playing like your season's on the line, like your offense can't score every time your defense takes the field. But it feels like when Dak is back, it's like, oh shit, Dak got it. You know what I'm saying? Like my wife about to come back from out of town here in a minute. As soon as she gets in the house, hey, mama's home. She got what's for dinner? I don't know. Mama got it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how the defense be doing Dak.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's my issue. The issue of this is that. And another thing, the running cut. I remember specifically before Pollard got hurt, we were gassing the 49ers.
Yeah.
We were literally running the ball, and it was like, bro, they didn't know what to do because Pollard kept getting to them. And after Pollard got hurt and we put Zeke in, it was like, well, ain't nothing to worry about now. It's because a running game forced a defense to say, damn, we got to actually stop this run. And so that means, you know what that means. We got to leave George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb on a one-on-one situation. Now, what NFL team want to do that?
And not only was it that, you know, it was Zeke, because I mean that was still kind of decent Zeke, so he could have been. Kellen Moore abandoned the run game that game as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, you became one-dimensional, and that is the risk when you come one-dimensional and you're forcing it, and you have Noah Brown as your wide receiver too. All that the 49ers do is like, all right, you might be able to drive up the field, but I just got to get you to do one mistake, whether that's a Dak interception, whether that's a fumbled ball or Michael Gallup stopping short on the wrong route. All we got to do is keep you in front of us and bank on that one mistake. And even with that, we still had an opportunity. We all remember the Trayvon Diggs tackle on George Kittle. Like, so it's like those little things. And then we had, what's his name? What was our kicker at the time? Greg Zerline or whatever.
That was Greg Zerline.
Greg Zerline, who got into a funk all of a sudden out the blue. You know what I'm saying? So like, but we don't talk about those things. It was just Dak. It was Dak.
And so, and then another subject I want to go on to is this: it's the fans. Like my thing is like, and there's nobody in the chat and nothing, but I feel like you said, like we can't get to Jerry till we get to Dak. But my other issue is this: is when it's time to take accountability for Dak, I have no problem. If y'all want to go off on Dak, cool.
Right.
But when it's time to take accountability on other people, that's what my problem is. Because every season, we come in with the issue and we wait till later on to address the issue. Like right now, the defensive tackle issue. We were so angry, and I was Team Weapons. But we were so angry about getting a weapon and trying to be able to like, hey, you know, I need somebody on the other side of CD because CD was getting hammered. But now that we got that weapon, now all of a sudden it's, we good. Our work is good now. No, that's not how that works. This is a 365-day thing. Like, you think the Eagles won't sit up and just, okay, we're done. You know, we just want a Super Bowl. No, they want another one.
Right.
That's why they draft the way they draft. That's why they trade the way they trade. That's why they keep doing the things they do. Because you want another one. Once you get one, it's addictive. You want it again.
Right.
You want that parade. You want that situation. And I feel like with the Cowboys fans, I get it. We haven't won, but I feel like they don't have that that feeling like how Mav fan does. Mm-hmm. Like when Luka took us to the finals and everything, Lord praise us. And we were close. We wanted that feeling, that emotion. I went to the games. I seen how it felt and what it really meant to be in that situation. I think that's the problem. We settled too fast, and we settled. It's so easy for us to get settled.
Yep.
And just be ready for the season to start, instead of looking at problems and looking at things that we could do to improve the team. So it's to the point where it's a shadow of a doubt that we can get to the position we need to get to, instead of just, all right, we got Pickens, we got a few other people, we good now. That's not how that works.
I feel like, and that's how our fan base has been conditioned. I was playing that cartoon again. It's like, we're looking for solutions, right? Don't stop improving. If you went and got a defensive tackle, right, and let's say you trade a 5th round pick and got a guy, right, and Justin Rogers beat him out, well then, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But it feels like Cowboys fans, instead of being proactive and adding as much talent as possible, they've been trained as like, you know what? We'll just take what we can get right now and just hope for the best, right? I don't want a Nick Chubb. Let's hope that just Phil Moffitt can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like no, bro. Let's bring the best of the best in, and if Phil Moffitt beats out Nick Chubb and Javonte Williams, then I guarantee you, Jay Tuck will be the first person on the channel to break down film and says, nah, Moffitt needs more carries, right? But if we kind of settle like, know what? We don't need a defensive tackle. Let's give a 7th rounder or a UDFA a chance, because, we've got Pickens. It's kind of one of those things where we're kind of afraid to ask. Like back when I was a kid, right? I used to always ask my mom on Friday night, could my friend on my basketball team spend the night? I'm like, you asked. No, you asked. You know what I'm saying? Fine, I asked, right? Boom. My mama says yes. But then that next question comes in. Well, shit, bro. Did we ask her to take her as a Blockbuster? Man, I was asking you to spend the night. I ain't asking for Blockbuster 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to ask for Blockbuster and pizza? Like, nah, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to maybe try something. And that's how Cowboys fans, it's like, oh, we got George Pickens. Can we ask Stephen Jones for defensive? Nah, bro. We just not make him mad. All right, let's just kind of, be okay. We don't need a corner either, bro. Like, we got Pickens. We're good. We got a weapon. Let's just go with what we already have. Let's play the video games that we have at home. We don't need to go to Blockbuster tonight. Damn it, I'm trying to go to Blockbuster. And I want pizza. And I want Pepsi. And I want wings. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro.
And then this is my final thing I'm going to say, then I'm going to let you go. So, Cowboys fans and people in general, don't stop trying to get better. Don't stop trying to have influence. And another thing, if you're going to come onto the platform to make a disagreement, have facts ready, have things that you can prove, and don't just come with feelings. Mm-hmm. Every time we go in with feelings, what happens is we get disappointed even more because you're not seeing the facts of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Now, if Philadelphia whooped our ass because we didn't want to take the time to get angry enough about defensive tackle, don't go blaming Dak. Don't go blaming all these other stuff. Don't go blaming everybody else. Blame the situation of we did not try to persuade Steven and them to do it. Because Steven even said, hey, bro, like, them fans was getting to me.
Right.
Like, it was hurting my pride.
Right. Yeah.
It was hurting me because, like, their ego, they can't not appease to us. Mm-hmm. Because we're so in what they did, and they mastered this so well, Tom.
Yep.
Is they divide fans into each section.
Right.
There's some fans who hate that. There's some fans who love that. There's some fans who don't care. There's some fans who just go up to the game just to say, "Ooh, look at AT&T Stadium." I've been to AT&T Stadium multiple times. It ain't that dang impressive. I get it. You got big stuff, cool. Mm-hmm. But they mastered that into where we can't come as a cohesive unit. Because I guarantee you, whenever Philadelphia got an issue, whenever Philadelphia got a problem, they're one sound, one mind, one unit. They go in, they try to fix the issue. When Kellen Moore didn't want to run the ball and didn't want to start wanting to do pass happy stuff, they was like, we're not playing that game. We're going to sit up here and we're going to make our voice be heard. I seen people outside the thing saying, run the dang ball.
Right.
On the side.
Yeah, it's
outside.
crazy.
So,
different temperament.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Cowboys, y'all, it's just different. Like I said, my wife she actually just got back, so I got to jump here in a minute. But she just sent me this. She was actually in Dallas. Let's focus. You probably can't see what this is, bro, but she sent me a picture of a homeless man that had a sign saying "Go Cowboys." You know what I'm saying? That's how crazy it is when it comes to the Cowboys allure. So they have built their brand, and their brand isn't tied by winning, and they realize that they're good. Long as I can keep you interested, that's all that I need to do. But the Cowboys brand is no longer tied to winning, where teams have to win or else. As long as I can keep you 9 wins, kind of on the edge of your seat, kind of like a little movie, up and down, keep you engaged throughout the course of the season, maybe till December. That's all that we need to know. And right now, every Dallas Cowboys fan is back on the hook. They are probably done. They're probably done. So, my guy, appreciate you for calling in, man. Thanks for your support as always, dog. And keep doing your thing, bro. Appreciate you. All right, y'all, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. I wasn't planning on going this long, but of course we had some improv calls, but it's always fun picking up the call line. I'm probably go live tomorrow. Like I said, a lot of people's been hitting me up about the retirement stuff. I'm not retiring this year. I said maybe next year, y'all. This year we're gonna go crazy. But yeah, facts, not feelings, just like Carter Hill. And I just read a great book on this. It's called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. She talks about F your feelings. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like working out right now. I don't feel like eating healthy. I don't feel like getting ready to go out in the rain and take my dog on this walk in the middle of a thunderstorm, right? F your feelings. You got shit to do. You got work to do. And it's not about feelings. When it comes to these football conversations, it's about facts. And when you look at the facts, it's not too far of a stretch to say our quarterback can have an MVP caliber season, man. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Everyone in the chat, everyone called in. If you haven't already, like the content, share the content, subscribe to the channel. We are gearing up for 20,000 views. We want to hit that before camp. Big goal of mine, so tell everybody that Tuck went live, CFO fam. Salute to all new members, Sean, all the super chats. Follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151 if you haven't already. We got some big stuff lined up that extremely excited about. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. Dez is working on some stuff going crazy. Fanatics Fest is this weekend. Not sure if I'm gonna be in New York or not. Still undecided, man. Appreciate you guys. If I go live tomorrow, probably around the same time, 5, 6 or something like that. Not sure my wife has. There's some Juneteenth stuff going on in town, so we might be going to that. So not really sure, but if not, Friday I might go during the day because we got some date night stuff planned. So I'll definitely let you guys know, and that's why you gotta turn on your notification bell so you do not miss out. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. And I don't give a damn what you say. Dak Prescott is prime for an MVP caliber season, whether you want to hear it or not. Peace.